Anthony, you talk a lot about, when it comes to our relationship with God, about knowing God versus knowing about God. Could you talk a little bit about that on a very practical level?
Yeah, so with any relationship in life, there's a difference between knowing someone and knowing about them. But knowing someone, which is like the level of depth and intimacy, always begins with knowing about them. Okay, so you can take a look at like any relationship in life, whether it's, it's a marriage relationship. You start by learning information about the other person, and eventually that has to translate into a personal knowledge. And if it doesn't, then there's a problem. So like, for example, when it comes to knowing versus knowing about, like Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player of all time. I know a lot about Michael Jordan, okay? I can tell you that he's 6'6", tell you he was born on February 17th, 1963, tell you he won 6 NBA titles, 5 MVPs, 10 scoring champs. I know a lot about Michael Jordan, but that isn't hard. Google knows a lot about Michael Jordan. Wikipedia knows a lot about Michael Jordan. That doesn't mean that I know him the way, let's say, his children, his wife, his teammates, because those people shared life together, okay? And the same is true when it comes to Christ. It's easy to learn about Christ. Okay, there's a very good book out there that you can read, okay, that I'd highly recommend. But that's not the goal. The goal is to have that shared life with him, and that's what we talk about. Knowing him begins with information, okay, but it hopefully translates into a relationship and a life together.
And that book that you're talking about is Whatever God, which is your journey on
That's
that
a close
answer.
second. That's a close second.
Absolutely. What are the tools that the Orthodox Church gives us to do that practically?
Yeah, so that's where we talk about the sacramental life. Okay, the church has been gifted from God the mysteries, okay, or the sacraments. We can use those two terms interchangeably. And those are, when St. Peter talks in his epistle about how we partake in the divine nature. We are partakers in the divine nature. That's what the sacraments are all about. They're all about going from like a head knowledge to a life experience. So through the sacraments, through the mysteries of the church, we not only learn about Christ, and we not only read about him or study his life or memorize his word, but we participate in his actual life. We commune with him and have union or communion with Christ.